Susie's got you speaking today, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
This is me. All right. Well, it is 12:04. We're going to start the meeting. Welcome to Fresno City Toastmasters. I'll ask everybody to please mute unless you're called upon. I'm going to let another guest in. All right. I'm Farin Jacobsen. I'm your club president, and we like to always start our meetings off with our mission statement. Let me make sure everyone's in. Okay. Corbin, welcome. Our mission statement is we provide a supportive and positive learning experience in which members are empowered to develop communication and leadership skills, resulting in greater self-confidence and personal growth. We always like to keep that in mind as we progress through our meeting. For our business announcements, dues are due on October 1st, which is this Thursday. They are $50 for existing members and $65 for new members. We would really appreciate it if everyone could pay their dues by the deadline on Thursday. You can do that by going to PayPal. The email address is fresnotm@gmail.com. You can also get a hold of Sonia via email and she can take care of you. Anything else, Sonia, regarding dues?
Nope, you got it, ma'am. Thank you.
Perfect. We have several guests joining us today. So welcome to Andre, Heather, Taylor, Corbin. I'm looking around, is that it? And well, Sarah, our area director, can't forget her. And I think that's it. So welcome to everybody. I would like to go over a few housekeeping things before I introduce Sarah to give us her official report and visit. Please mute yourself until you're called upon. We use jazz hands instead of applause because we don't want to clap and we're muted, obviously. If you need to multitask during a Zoom meeting, if you need to move around your house for some reason, please turn off your video so that you're not distracting anyone who is looking at the screen. And please stand up when you are giving a speech whenever possible. I know in some locations you can't do that, but if you can, please stand up as if you were at a podium. And I would like to introduce Sarah Tolmakoff, our area director. This is her first official visit to our club, so please welcome her.
Good afternoon, everyone. Yes, this is my first official visit of your club, so I'll be taking notes and doing my report off this meeting. Full disclosure, this is my first report I'm doing, so you guys are my lucky guinea pigs. And I may have to have, I've been told, a second official visit, so I will let you know if I need that to finish my report. But otherwise, just carry on. I do want to pass on, definitely remember to pay your dues, try to get those in and get fully paid before the end of the month. And then we'll be having a speech contest. It'll be April 30th and May 1st. We're going to be doing humorous is what won out, and so you'll get more information before then, but you can already start planning your humorous speech in your head and start getting some notes down. We'll be planning all that with the areas and the clubs before that time, so that way we'll weigh in advance. And that's it.
Awesome. Thank you, Sarah. Sorry, I'm doing all the Zoom stuff for our YouTube channel where we upload these videos afterwards. I also wanted to address that. I'm sorry, that's part of our new business as well. Before we got on the Zoom, Sarah gave me a call and suggested that we have a Zoom master for our meetings, and I thought that was a really genius idea. Someone to run the Zoom, open the Zoom meeting, let people in, because we do have the waiting room feature. And then every time someone speaks, I like to highlight the video so that their video is nice and big with everyone else really tiny on top or on the side for the YouTube video because it just looks good. So I don't know if we decide that at our board meeting. Maybe Joey, you can let me know about that. Do we decide to do this? And is that like kind of taking a place of the Sergeant at Arms, or do we switch that up every week? I don't know, any suggestions?
Well, maybe let's do the volunteer at the end, like when we ask for the agenda, when we're getting all the roles filled. And I know some out there may not be too comfortable with doing all that. So we'll make sure it's a little bit more of a technical role. So those that are okay with that, then we'll let them do that. That's a great idea, Sarah. Thank you for that. And all you'd have to do is just get them we have to figure out login, because you have to actually log in to using your account, Farin, you know, how we had to switch, you and me had to switch from the last time when I was president. So we'll have to figure that'll probably be the toughest challenge to get that done. But if we get somebody that's comfortable with the technical side, I don't think it'll be a big issue.
Okay, and then I just thought right now I could still start the meeting and then just transfer host to somebody else, and it would work.
Yep.
Oh, cool. We will start that next week.
Feedback on how we've done it is, yeah, you could start the meetings and have a co-host or transfer. That way it's up to you. That way you still have control. And we've had it where it's a role that we fulfill every week, so it changes every week. And some people aren't comfortable doing it, so they won't do that role. And then I've seen it where a Sergeant of Arms has done it. So you could do it kind of however fits your club. If it's better to have one person or to rotate, have multiple people. It's a good skill to know because Zoom's not going away anytime soon.
No, it's not.
All right, thank you. Thanks for that suggestion. Now I'd like to pass the virtual mic over to our Toastmaster of the day, Joey Myers, with our theme, technical difficulties.
Thank you, Farin. Speaking of technical difficulties and YouTube and all that kind of stuff, my son's getting into the YouTube thing, and he's really big into Minecraft. For those of you out there that know what Minecraft is, video game. So he wanted to start his own YouTube channel. So it was me trying to figure out, because a 7-year-old, you have to make sure that there's enough privacy in there. So I just signed him onto one of my accounts. Well, it's not that easy. Technical difficulties. Trying to figure out how to get him onto an account. So I did that. Farin, you want to just pass me I'm going to share my screen real quick and show you what we did. So I was able to finally today, and the idea I think came to me in the shower or something. That's usually what happens. To be able to do that. So we good?
Okay, you're good.
So this is what I had my design gal make up a banner. So he drew this, by the way. So he's pretty creative. So he drew this logo, and then we had the gal vectorize it. Cool, huh, Sonia? And then she did the banner. She did this little icon over here, and then you can't see the other on the actual video on YouTube. There's a little on the bottom right corner. It's like a logo type of thing, a watermark, I think is what they call it. So she did that. So I was able to finally put that together. So that is the technical difficulty, is how that attaches to Toastmasters. Another good example was Storm. We finally got Storm in, I mentioned, to his pathway. So you guessed here, that's going to be a big deal for you when you come into the club, is you go through a pathway, and either you allow the pathway, answer a few questions in a survey type of thing, and the path, they will reveal the path for you. And that could be like mine's visual communication. There are some body language, things like that. And so that's where you're going to be ending up. You're going to be going through. So you can choose your path, or you can have the path be chosen for you based on the survey. So we got Storm in. There was a little bit of technical difficulties there, but one step at a time, we got him in, so we're good to go. So that's my little spiel on the technical difficulties as our theme. And I want to move on and bring up our general evaluator of the day, who is Chanel West.
Thanks, Joey. Welcome, everybody, especially guests. We're super glad that you're here. I'm going to be the general evaluator for today. So essentially my role will be to mediate part of the meeting and to introduce our evaluative team. And I will just be overseeing the meeting, making sure that everything runs smoothly. So with that, I'm going to introduce the 3 members of our evaluation team today, and they will explain to you what their roles are going to be. So firstly, I'm going to pass the mic back over to Joey, who is our grammarian.
Thank you, Chanel. So oftentimes we'll fill multiple roles here. The goal is to get everybody in a role. But today, my other role is the grammarian, who introduces the word of the day and just does a blanket look at how the grammar is in our meeting. But the big one is using the word of the day. For those that have joined or are guests within the last 6 months, you don't have to worry about, you're not going to get we don't call it a fine anymore. We call it an investment. So if you don't use the word of the day, I think it carries I'm not looking at the thing here, 35-cent fine. I think we have it somewhere on our agenda. There they are. Neglect to use word of the day, 50 cents. Went up a little bit. So the word of the day, if you look in the chat, is gauntlet. Definitions: a glove worn with medieval armor to protect the hand, Another definition, any of various protective gloves used, especially in industry, and open challenge as to combat, used in phrases like throw down the gauntlet. And the last one, a dress glove extending above the wrist. So you can use it in any way there. An example, no, Jack answered. He stared up at the advancing night and his hand wrapped itself tightly around the guitar pick in his pocket. Spiked studded gauntlets came up toward the visor of its bird helmet. They raised it. That was from Stephen King and Peter Straub in The Talisman in 1984. So that is an example of the use of gauntlet. Again, I put the definition with the 4 different definitions there with the word in the chat, so you can check that out and try and mix in the word of the day today, and I will be keeping track. Thank you, Chanel.
Thank you, Joey. And next, I would like to introduce Denny Mason, who is going to be our awe counter for today.
Hi, everyone. I'm going to throw down the gauntlet and ask all of you to watch your uhs and ahs today. I'm going to count them. At the end of the meeting, I'll give you a count. Thank you.
Thank you, Denny. And thirdly, I will introduce Storm, who is going to be our timer.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm going to be your timer for the day. All right, so I'm going to use this app right here, Timers TM for TMs. And for your speech, it's going to be for 5 to 7 minutes. Table topics are going to be 1 to 2 minutes. And then your evaluation is 2 to 3 minutes. For your timer, for your evaluations, I'll be doing your timer and write it down give a report at the end of meeting.
Okay, thank you, Storm. And then our videographer for today is going to be Farin. We talked about that a little bit at the beginning. So Farin, thank you for continuing to take on this double role. Hopefully this will be the last time you have to do that. And with that as our evaluation team, I'm going to reintroduce our Toastmaster, Joey, who will introduce our speaker for today.
Thank you, Chanel. And just one extra one, we got our evaluators who today I think is Sonia for Farin's speech. Yep, Sonia for Farin's speech, and Sonia will be evaluating Farin on her speech today, and we'll go over that here on what that speech is going to entail. So I have Farin's stuff. So this will be Farin's speech number 3 in the engaging humor pathway. She's supposed to use feedback from her last speech to make this speech even better. Her speech title is The 3 Things That Promise to Ruin My Shopping Ban. For those of you that missed the first round of this, you probably want to check that out. That is, I think, on our YouTube. I'm sure Farin will tell us, maybe not during the speech, but at the end, that we can get that video to you so you can check out part 1. Her bio, Farin is our club's current president, has been in Toastmasters for 3 years. She completed the motivational strategies pathway and is now attempting to be funny in the engaging humor pathway. She's a recently divorced mom of 2 who makes her living as a pet sitter, yoga instructor, freelance writer, and all-around hustler. In her last speech, she told us about tightening her budget. Today, she'll give us an update with her speech titled, again, The 3 Things That Promise to Ruin My Shopping Ban. Farin Jacobsen.
Thank you, Joey. Storm, just give me a second before you start the time. I'm gonna spotlight my video. Get everything situated here. All right. I delivered my last speech on September 1st, the day I decided to start my shopping ban. For a recap, I was inspired by a book called A Year of Less by Kate Flanders. In it, she detailed how she paid off $30,000 worth of credit card debt in 2 years by enforcing a shopping ban on herself. She only purchased items on an approved shopping list, and I decided to go with a similar challenge, except only for 4 months through the end of 2020. Today, nearly a full month later, I'm here to tell you that there are 3 things I have found that promise to ruin my budget. My 3 shopping ban pitfalls are vegan cheese, coupons mixed with cravings, and gifts for others. First, I'd like to reiterate my approved shopping list from my last speech. The shopping ban doesn't mean that I can't purchase anything at all. It just limits what I spend on unnecessary purchases. I'm allowed to buy things like groceries and pet food, basic cosmetics, toiletries, cleaning products, gifts for others, meals at social outings with friends and family because I don't want to miss out on any moments and memories. The things that I am not allowed to buy are fun cosmetics, clothes, shoes, books and magazines, household items, electronics and appliances, Starbucks, and takeout food or home delivery meals for just myself. This seems like a great idea, right? It's pretty simple. You stick to the necessities and then you watch your bank account grow with all the money that you're saving on not purchasing frivolous items. But I have found that it's a lot harder than I thought it was going to be, and that is because I keep finding loopholes in my own rules. Pitfall number 1 is vegan cheese. If you're not vegan or lactose intolerant, you won't understand the never-ending quest to find delicious, melty, and cheesy tasting vegan cheese, but I'm telling you, it's a thing. I found myself in grocery outlet at the beginning of the month, right after the shopping ban started, and I was picking up my usual hummus and salsa, and I looked and there was a new vegan cheese brand with pepper jack shreds. So I immediately grabbed a bag and tossed it into my cart. Then I saw there were mozzarella shreds and cheddar style shreds and sliced cheeses, and I thought, whoa, I can't pass this up. Grocery outlet prices, tossed them all into my cart. I found the loophole because it's a grocery item, but I should have limited myself and said only buy things that I was going to use within that same week or maybe the next 2 weeks. I still have vegan cheese stacked in my refrigerator from that purchase. I should not have purchased $30 worth of vegan cheese in one sitting. Pitfall number 2 is also about food. It's the dangerous combination of coupons and cravings. At the beginning of this challenge for myself, I started to unsubscribe from every retailer email newsletter that I got. I figured if I didn't see the sales that were going on or the promo codes, I wouldn't be tempted to purchase anything. But Uber Eats snuck into my inbox, and in the subject line, it said $20 off your next purchase. So $20, that could actually buy me a lot of food. I'm just gonna click it, check it out. I click through, and what pops up but the curry pizza company. I have been craving a vegan curry pizza since before the pandemic. So of course, I start loading it into my cart. I get my vegan curry pizza, medium-sized, and 10 mango habanero vegan wings. It was all bad. Even after the $20 off coupon promo code, I spent $28 on that one meal just for myself. Another bad thing. Pitfall number 3 is gifts for others. I included this on my things that I'm allowed to buy because I knew that my dog's birthday, my son's birthday, my boyfriend's birthday, my favorite cousin's birthday, and Christmas were all coming up before the end of the year. I want to be able to purchase gifts for my loved ones. But this last weekend, I bought a gift that was actually mostly for myself, but I counted it as a gift for my boyfriend's birthday. It was a $209 tour on a clear kayak of South Lake Tahoe. And I purchased it because I just felt like it was meant to be. I had been looking at these clear kayak tours for months now, and after the company reopened, every tour had been booked. And I thought, there's no way we're ever going to be able to find a weekend where we can both get away and have these clear kayak tours have an opening. But we booked a hotel, and I just checked the website just to make sure. And what do you know, there was one spot available for the 1 p.m. Saturday tour, and I booked it immediately. I threw down those $200 like it was nothing. And I figured it is technically a gift for my boyfriend, and I'm a gift all in myself, so it's like he's getting double gifts, right? It made sense. It was meant to be. Now that I've told you about my 3 pitfalls, vegan cheese, coupons plus cravings, and gifts for others, I have one word of advice. If you embark on your own shopping ban, if you throw down the gauntlet and want to try it, close all of your loopholes. You know yourself better than anyone. You know which unnecessary purchases you are likely to justify. Put those on your do not buy list and stick to it. But I also have one other quote from Mark Twain. 20 years from now, you will be more disappointed by the things you didn't do than by the things you did. With that in mind, leave the vegan cheese at the grocery store, but do the $200 clear kayak tour. Thank you.
Thank you, Farin. Beautiful. That's all part of the technical difficulties process. I love the scientific method. You start in a direction, you take action, you don't always succeed, you fall off here and there, but the biggest thing that separates those who are successful and those that aren't are the ones that are able to fix the issue or the challenge and to move on past it instead of just shutting it down. So good work, Farin. You're going to give us more updates, I'm sure, and you're going to do better. Good work. All right, since we don't have a second speech today, we do have our table topics, which is a great part of being a Toastmaster, and I will let Denise De Benedetto explain what Toastmaster or what table topics is and how you can volunteer or be voluntold. So thank you, Denise.
Thank you, Joey. I am a little excited about today's table topics in that, keeping with the theme of the day, technical difficulties, I thought this could bring us some comedy relief. When I thought about this theme and the topic, I immediately thought of all of the workers who've recently had to, in a very expedited way, learn technical skills that they probably didn't think they had to use or they weren't familiar with our virtual lives that we're living right now. There have been numerous memes and videos that have come out since the pandemic of people sharing their experiences and their faux pas on Zoom, and it's been hilarious to watch. So I thought that maybe we could all do the same and share, even if you don't have a Zoom or an actual technical difficulty moment to share. I'm sure we've all had embarrassing moments in our lives, or our brains are a technical device that can malfunction at times and cause an embarrassing situation. I will go ahead and start. I was participating in a regional transportation planning meeting. The attendees were all professionals or experts in their field. And I, as a employee of FCTA, was just a fly on the wall. I planned to just be muted and no video and just listen to everybody else and absorb whatever information and knowledge I could from the other attendees. Well, the format wasn't Zoom. It was something I wasn't familiar with, and I was pretty sure that I had clicked the button to remove my video. I couldn't see me. I had skipped lunch. I was starving. I grabbed my bag of popcorn and proceeded to shovel the popcorn in my mouth as I watched the meeting go on. It was not until the meeting was over and everybody else's screens were disappearing that I saw mine pop up and realized that I had been on video the entire time. I was so embarrassed, and I have not had anyone say anything to me about it, but I replay that single second of realization in my mind almost every day since that meeting's happened, because I'm wondering what they're thinking if I was just had no manners and didn't know any better, because I don't know. So I throw the gauntlet to you and ask that you share your embarrassing moment, your technical difficulty, and do I have any volunteers that want to start? Oh, look at Joey. He's right there. Okay.
I was doing my thing. I didn't let somebody else go because I can go, but I was just giving you some props.
Oh, thank you.
And I just want to
appreciate
remind
that.
everyone that during table topics, you can unmute because
Yeah,
we
you
do
can
kind of like the interaction. So
This is Denny.
Denny.
Okay. So a couple of weekends ago was the Miss Dinuba pageant. And for the first time, I was asked to be a judge for that. And it was all they could do to pull off that pageant. So this isn't an embarrassing moment for me. I was very excited to be there. But technical difficulties, of course, play a part in it. So the goal was to have the pageant at all, because normally it's held indoors. Someone offered their outdoor setting for the pageant, and they managed to get through the whole pageant in an incredible way and pick a winner and all of those things. It was a great experience for me. And you'll hear tractors and things in the background here, sorry. Chickens. And when it was all over, I decided to use my Toastmasters skills. The next morning, I sat down, I took a couple of hours and I wrote out an email to the director of the pageant and said, in the Toastmaster tradition, which they're unfamiliar with, I said, in the Toastmaster tradition of evaluation, I'd like to give you what my perception was of the event. And I proceeded to give them a full Toastmasters evaluation that was very positive, because they managed, even though they did have some technical difficulties, they managed to pull it off without too many apologies or anything. They carried on and got through it. And the goal had been to do the pageant at all. So they did do that and a fine job of it. And I got such a nice response back from that evaluation. She asked if she could share it with the entire committee, that she was, I'm sure at the end of the event, they were feeling like we all do. When you work so hard on something, you're wondering if you did a good job or if it wasn't as good as you wanted it to be. And I think I was able to wrap it up very nicely for them from an outside perception in a way that that made them feel good about having had the event. So I felt really good, and it was just a testament to what we're doing here in Toastmasters. I think evaluation is one of the most important things that we learn here. Thank you.
Good work, Denny.
That was good, Danny.
Thank you for sharing that. And see, yeah, we can use our Toastmaster skills everywhere in life. Who would like to go next? Am I going to have to start volunteering? Storm. Okay, Storm. Thanks.
Or was it Farin? I saw her mic. Okay, so I started technically not. It was like not technically, but technically I started quarantine like in January, because I moved to Fresno in October, and it was kind of like one of those things of I'd go to Los Angeles, go to work, put the gauntlet on, or the rubber gloves and stuff like that, and because I was doing some medical stuff as a stenographer. I do a lot of ultrasounds for just about everything, and once I actually quit that position, or once I actually stopped going to Los Angeles, that's when I didn't have the social circle here in Fresno, and it was really, really tough actually. And then I think it was really interesting. And so Fresno Toastmasters was actually the first to reach out into the community for everything right here, and that's it.
Good job, Storm.
Storm.
Glad we were here for you.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's been great. Anyone else? We have plenty of time.
I'll go. Oh, Sarah, you want to go?
No.
Sarah, go ahead.
Okay. My story, it's not necessarily my personal technical difficulty, but it was one that I was kind of a part of. Last year, I used to work for the Fresno Rescue Mission at their Rescue the Children facility. And last year in the early fall, I think it was about September or so, they had their annual fundraising dinner, and they had planned, because the weather had been really nice, to have it outside on the lawn at their Rescue the Children facility. So this is kind of their big fundraiser where a lot of big donors get invited. They're hoping to raise substantial funds for the organization. They had very nice white tablecloths, decorations, all of the sound equipment set up outside. And I had come just in my role as an employee to help give tours of the facility for the people who were visiting. And that day, it had been really nice all week, but that day some clouds had started to roll in that afternoon. And I think the event started at 6:30. And we started giving tours at about 6, and then we were supposed to kind of start dinner and stuff by 6:30. And at about 6:15, the sky literally opened and a torrential downpour just came down on everything. And we did not have a contingency plan necessarily. So all of the auction items, all of the tables, all of the sound equipment, we were frantically carrying inside. Luckily, we have a kitchen that we were able to reset everything up, but at that point we were soaking wet. The guests were wet. All of our stuff was wet. Moved it inside and attempted to still have the dinner and the fundraiser, but in a very modified way. So that I wasn't directly in charge of planning it, but that was something that showed me, ooh, if I'm ever having an event outside, I want to have a good backup plan in case that happens. It's very unfortunate for everyone.
I think anybody who puts on a big event learns that lesson usually the hard way, and from that point on always has a plan B. You know, it always seems to work that way, right? With the weather.
Mm-hmm.
Sarah, were you wanting to go?
Yes.
Great.
Miss Table Topic Master, fellow Toastmasters, and most welcome guests. Technical, how come I can't say that word? Difficulties. There's my issue right there. Sometimes my mouth will just trip up on me and doesn't want to come out. So I can't think of being Zoom. I have a hilarious story. I still houses, and I was showing this elderly couple, not super elderly, but this is important, upper middle age elderly couple. And we walk outside into the backyard, and we are in downtown. We're one street off of Huntington Boulevard. So old, cute houses, but because it's not the best area, they have backyard fences that are like 9 feet, right? It's very private. So we walk in the backyard, and it is wintertime, and the wind kicks up, and I hear the door just slam. I'm like, oh, it'll be okay. Except when we come to go back in the house, and it's not okay. I can't get the door open. Now remember, I have 9-foot fences all around me. Luckily, I see a small gate, but again, it's like 5 feet, and I'm just over 5 feet. It's a tall fence. I have a dress on, not supportive shoes, and I am not athletic. And I have to get over this fence because I cannot leave me and my clients in this backyard all by ourselves. And the agent, I'm calling the listing agent, and she's not responding. There's the technical difficulties there because she's not responding. I manage to get myself up and over the fence somewhat delicately without showing everything off. Go through the front door to the back door to say, oh my goodness, we're rescued, it's okay. I cannot open the back door at all. Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh, you guys, it was terrible. I'm just yelling to my clients saying, I don't know, I'm gonna figure this out. It's gonna be okay. At this time, the sun's setting, it's winter time, it's freezing. And another agent I know comes to show the house. So we both get our tools, and we're trying to figure this out because there's this nail that's actually now sticking into the door. That's why I can't open. How it ever happened, I don't know. The listing agent will not respond to me by text, call, email. I'm like, I need help. There has to be another key or something here to help me. It took her over a half hour to respond. And when I first called her, she says, well, why don't you just call the police and firemen? And I'm like, no, why don't you help me? Because there's obviously another key here that I could get around to another door. I finally got her once because she knew I was going to throw down the gauntlet and cause a big storm if she wasn't going to help me. Finally did. I got my clients out. To this day, the clients have never bought a house or want to go see another house. That was it for them.
Oh.
Good story.
Now that's a good agent, though, that you're willing to jump over a fence in a dress. So kudos to you, Sarah. So our timer, do we have time for more?
Yep.
Where are we?
I'll try if you want. Okay.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
Great.
Okay. So this story took place about a year and a half ago when I was seeking an employment overseas. So I was looking for employment in Ireland. And so I had scheduled a Skype call with the business in Ireland. And it was like at 6 o'clock in the morning because of the time difference. So I'm really like kind of trying to be awake and having a difficult time with that from the beginning. And my cat is in the living room as well with me. And I figured, oh, she'll be okay, on the interview. And so she's sitting over to the side and started the interview, and I'm very I got a lot of nerves. In fact, this is why I signed up for Toastmasters, because I want to have more confidence in, doing interviews. And so it's getting to difficult questions. And I noticed that my cat just started to walk on the desk where I was having my conversation. And I was like, okay, she'll be okay. But I do know also that Ruby, my calico cat, loves to eat things that she's not supposed to eat. And being so early in the morning, I had my mug with some coffee in it. And so she went over to the mug, and I was keeping an eye on her, but I didn't want to look distracted or anything like that, because, was trying to be professional here. But I was looking, keeping an eye on her. And there was a piece of paper under the mug, and she went for it, and it spilled everywhere in the middle of the interview. So I felt I was very embarrassed, of course, and but we carried on. So that was kind of like I stumbled, but I continued. So, and it was sort of like a moment of levity. However, I did learn my lesson to put Ruby out of the room when I'm having an important formal interview. She's the one thing that keeps me distracted. She's here right now, so that's why I'm sort of distracted as well, but I'm doing my best. Thanks.
Good one.
Yes, pets can do that. I know. You have home, so right there with you. But see, this is what Toastmasters is great for too, because you can have those faux pas here in a safe environment and really develop any kind of, overcome any nerves that you have. It's been great for that. And that's the thing about table topics for you guests too, is this is an opportunity for most people use this, the first opportunity they have to talk and just work out some of those nervous tics or bugs that they have. So, whenever you're ready to talk table topics is the good time during the meeting to do that. Anyone else? Are we on time?
I can go if anybody else doesn't want to go.
All right, Joey, let's hear it.
All right, you ready for this one? This one might rival theirs a little bit. So this was a college story. In college, I played baseball at Fresno State, and at the time, our Coach Bennett, who ended up passing away this year, beginning, when this all started. And at the time, he was probably about in his early 70s or so. So he was a little middle-aged for a coach. There was a lot of young coaches now in the game. And we would do triple days. So two of the practices, one was morning for a couple hours, and then the second one was in the afternoon from 1 till about maybe 4. And then we'd have to come back later. We'd go home, get some dinner, shower up, come back for about an hour or two nightcap. That was more of a lecture. It wasn't as physical. But we were all tired. You go 2 weeks of doing this, and coming back at night makes it tough. So we had guys that would sit in their chairs. We'd sit in the locker room chairs, and coach would talk, and they take turns sometimes. Coach Bennett was talking this specific night. We had one of our better players, was wearing these goggles, or not goggles. They looked like glasses, but they had hologram eyes on them. If you've seen those before, they're gag eyes, right? Oh. They were hologram eyes with gigantic eyelashes, and he was sleeping. He was sleeping, but if you're looking at him, it looked like he was awake, but he was kind of slumped in the chair with his arms crossed. So it didn't look like he was just slumped in the chair sleeping. So he had this going on. So that started us off, and we're looking at him and we're looking at seeing what he's doing. He's just sitting there doing nothing, and coach is talking, and coach is starting to get a little animated. He had a little lectern in front of him. He'd come outside the lectern and he'd start talking, and we noticed technical difficulties that his fly was down and he didn't know it. So he's talking and we're laughing, we're laughing. I mean, what he was saying was kind of funny, but but we were cheering him on almost. And he took that and he was getting wider and wider with his movements. And the wider and wider it got with his movements, the worse it made the technical difficulty. And I mean, nothing crazy, nothing gross. We couldn't see, he was all covered up and stuff. But it was just the fact that the spot was open, right? And he got worse and worse and worse. And he did this, carried on for a half hour. So after a while, I was like, okay, this is probably not good. So I think one of the guys told one of our assistant coaches who was up there with him and told him what it was, and zips it up, and a little embarrassed, but he handled things very, very well, and it ended up being a pretty funny thing. But that's the whole idea of technical difficulties. And so that one session, we got a lot in. It wasn't just that, but there was so many other funny things. It was like a circus was going on during that night. So it kept us awake.
For good memories, right? All right. Well, I think I'm going to give it back to our general evaluator so that they can introduce our evaluator of our speaker.
Thanks, Denise. I think that was one of my favorite table topics so far. It was some pretty funny stories. I'm just going to give the podium to Sonia, who is going to evaluate Farin's speech for us today. So welcome, Sonia.
Thank you, Chanel. So Miss Farin Jacobsen, she threw down the gauntlet. Woo! Wow. I was like really, really just mesmerized with your speech. I really was. And I love the title of your speech, 3 Things That Promise to Ruin My Shopping Ban. I love that title. I love the smile on your face the entire time you were talking. You were just smiling and explaining what was happening. And also I like the fact that you explained the inspiration from the book. I would like the name of that book and the title of the book and the author, please. And you just smiled. And then you talked about those 3 pits of, your shopping pits were the vegan cheese, the coupons and cravings and gifts for others, but for you as well. I loved how you talked about how you wanted to shop also and make memories, with your family. That's important, very important. So I love that you just took that into consideration. I loved how you talked about also not shopping for like regular nice clothes and Starbucks and makeup and all of that fun stuff. I'm sure you miss it, but you'll be there. You'll be there after your ban. I loved how you talked about those, again, the loopholes. One of that was the vegan cheese. Loved it, how you talked about you spent $30 and on the new vegan cheese and the other different cheeses. Loved how you described it. Just loved it because I could see the passion and the energy and just in your voice and in the enthusiasm. And how I loved how you talked about you spent like, what, $28? You had $20 off of Uber Eats for the vegan curry pizza. Love that. I mean, I haven't tried that pizza, but I would love to try it. Then I love how you said, you talked about, again, the 3 pitfalls for the gifts for others. And then you went and explained how you found that tour. And I'm like you, if I'm going to find a tour and that's it, that's the last one, I'm also going to take it because I really feel that, yeah, it's necessary to, take those trips and, make some memories. So I love that you did that, because you said it was for your boyfriend, but it was for you too. And then I loved how you talked about just how important it is that if we are going to stick to this shopping ban, that we need to close our own loopholes. We need to know what those are. You're absolutely correct when you're talking about that, and we've got to stick to it. And I love the quote at the end that you gave. Forgot the author, but I love that quote. And like I said, Farin, you absolutely, you threw down the gauntlet with this speech, girlfriend. So way to go.
Thank you, Sonia. I put the name of the book and the author in the chat, and the quote was by Mark Twain.
Yay. Thank you, dear. Thank you.
Thanks, Sonia. I agree, Farin. I think that your speech was really good and it was really funny. It had me cracking up the whole time. I think you're very graceful at adding authenticity in a way that you can poke fun at yourself, but not self-depreciatingly, and in a way that is really funny and relatable to everyone. So good job with that. I'm now going to reintroduce our evaluation team to give the end of the meeting reports and see how we all did. So firstly, it will be Storm with our timer report.
All right, fellow Toastmasters. Okay, so the speech we had, Farin, I actually loved that. That was actually fantastic. The cheese, I actually got to try the cheese. So Farin, you were at 6 minutes. It was like I got 5 minutes, 59 seconds. And then, so, all right, then off to table topics. Joey, you were at 2:33. I was at 1 minute 1 minute 3 seconds. Denise was at 2 minutes, and Audrey was at 2 minutes. Chanel, you were at 2 minutes 18 seconds. Sarah T was at 2 minutes 43 seconds, and Denny was at 2 minutes 32 seconds. The evaluation that was held by Sonia was at 3 minutes 21 seconds, and that's my report.
Thank you, Storm. And next, Miss Denny is going to give us her counter report.
Okay, a little Creedence Clearwater in the background. Farin, you did great on your speech. I didn't catch any crutch words on you. Awesome job. Sonia, I've got a couple little words with you. And so, you know you like so. There's a little tisk in there. You also like. That was good. Then Denise, I caught a few ums. Was the word today. And Storm, ums. That was it. Thank you.
I have a CCR story. I'll have to share one time.
Of course you do.
Okay, thank you, Miss Denny. Sounds like we did pretty good today. And thirdly, Joey is going to give us our grammarian report, which once again, I failed to use the word, so I'm not super looking forward to this.
Thanks, Chanel. Yeah, we taught, for those that are new on this call, we got lots of stories. Denise got some great ones. And now we got another one that we can look forward to. Thanks, Denise. Thanks, Denny, for bringing that up. So using the word of the day was gauntlet. There was a couple different definitions of it, one being sort of a glove and the other one was like war, putting down the gauntlet. The ones that used it today, and let me know if I missed anybody, Denny, Farin, which is great. Working it into your speech when you put that together and being able to use it, it's awesome. Denise, Storm, Sarah T, and Sonia. Did I miss anybody else? Great work, everybody. And again, like I said, you're off the hook if you've only been with us for less than 6 months or a guest. Otherwise, when we get back to we call it the tip jar, the investment jar in our club, it would be 50 cents we got to put in. So we're going to probably have to pony up whenever that time comes when we're back to meeting in person. So great work, everybody.
Thanks, Joey. We might want to consider instituting some sort of payment method even while we're on Zoom, because at this point I owe a lot of money and it could really bolster the club's funds.
No, don't scare the guests away.
No, it's just me. I'm just really bad
I
at
was going to say,
remembering.
please.
I'm sure everybody else will do a much better job.
When you say a lot of money, you mean $2.20?
Couple dollars. Yeah.
Okay, sure.
We don't enforce fines, for
No,
new people
no.
anyway.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to scare anybody. I was poking fun at myself. But overall, I think that our meeting was really good today, as everybody has emphasized. Farin, wonderful speech. I think you're really shining in the humorous pathways. And table topics, super fun too. Denise, really good topic idea. I loved hearing everybody's humorous stories of surviving the gauntlets that they've come up against. I know it's too late, but I'm going to say it anyway. So really, and we have a third of our people here today are guests, which really excites us as well. Yay, we were super happy to have you all. Hope that you come back. Don't let me scare you away. It's actually super fun. And that is my general evaluation of the meeting. So I will now turn it back over to Farin, our president, to adjourn the meeting.
Thanks, Chanel. Yeah, great job on the meeting today, guys. And I'm really excited too that we have a lot of guests here. As a guest, you get to come to 3 meetings absolutely free to see if this is something that you're interested in and beneficial to you. And then we do ask that you make a decision and either commit to the club or make us cry by not committing to the club. Just kidding. But definitely, yeah, our dues are due on Thursday. So we would love to have any new members if you do decide that you would like to join. And I'll open it up now to any guests if you want to introduce yourself and how you found us and any comments or criticisms of the meeting. Anyone, any guests like to go? Heather? Go ahead and unmute.
Hi, I'm Heather Davis, and I learned about Toastmasters through my supervisor, Sven. I work for Heinz Hospice, and a professional goal of mine is to become a better and more confident, public speaker. So I've been looking everywhere, and I found this place and this club in particular, and I think I'll definitely be coming back. So I'm looking forward to that. It was a good meeting overall. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. Glad you enjoyed it. Any other guests like to talk? Taylor?
Hi, I'm Taylor Frederick, and I work in Madera as a biologist, and I work with farmers. And I researched you guys online because my friend is a Toastmasters president in Montana. And I need to get better at articulating science to farmers. So that's why I'm joining.
Big challenge.
Mm-hmm.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Great. Andre?
Hi, my name is Andre. I looked you up online because I felt that I needed to improve my ability to do interviews, public speaking, and to have confidence in articulating who I am to other people and other things that need to be shared. I am a social work by trade, and I've been out of work since March, and so I've been going through a lot of interviews, and so it's just it's been difficult, but I'm hopeful, and so I'm looking forward to really getting practice here and learning tips and everything.
That's awesome. Welcome. It's a great place to learn.
Thanks.
Sweet. Anyone else?
Thank you guys for sharing. Speaking from my personal experience, I like to tell guests too, the first time I ever spoke at Toastmasters, I spoke for my table topics was 7 seconds. I've come a long way.
True. Yeah, and she has.
Awesome.
And I just want to say that, Farin, I still like your background and your lighting. Looks really nice. So you're doing great background. I like that. That's a solid white wall, right?
Yeah, solid white wall, and I have my natural sunlight from one side.
I like it.
Thank you so much. Cool. We like to give virtual stickers. We normally give actual stickers that we pin on our badges when we're meeting in person, but online we do virtual stickers for people who have multiple roles and for speakers as well. So virtual sticker to myself for my speech, and then one for Joey for handling two roles today. Do we have any birthdays this week? None. Okay, no stickers there.
Or
And
close. Andre raised her hand.
oh,
Oh, do you have a birthday this week?
It was the 25th. Yes.
Christmas sisters. Happy birthday.
Thank you.
that was my son's birthday too. You get a virtual sticker. And great job, Denise, on the table topics. I love that. Thank you. And we will now fill out next week's agenda. I just realized that I messed up on the agenda. So next week is October 6th that we're meeting. The theme is bare necessities. Would anyone like to be a Toastmaster?
I can do it.
Denise?
Who's that?
Yeah.
Denise
I'll do it.
or
Okay.
Denny? Oh,
And then we have one speaker, Chanel. Does anyone else want to give a speech next week? All right, seeing none, we'll go to evaluator for Chanel's speech. Would anyone like to evaluate?
I can do that, Farin.
Okay, Joey, thank you. Table topics master, which is what Denise did today.
Storm.
Oh boy.
Sign out.
What am I?
Table topics master.
Okay.
All right, thank you. A general evaluator, which is what Chanel did today. Denny? Did you unmute?
I don't know if I'm going to be on the road or not. So if you'll put me on a,
Okay.
I'll fill in if I'm able to sign on. Okay, I'll fill in something.
Okay. Grammarian, word of the day.
I can do that.
Sonia, thank you. An all counter.
I can also do that if you'd like.
Okay, for sure. And timer. I can do that. And then do we want to try the Zoom master videographer? Anyone comfortable in running that?
Yeah, I can.
I think I kind of would like the experience,
Yeah.
Farin. So, yeah, there might be some technical difficulties, but I really, I'd like to get a little more familiar with that end of it.
So
Okay.
maybe Farin, when you create or you have the meeting already created, right? You did they're all continuing. So there's a section at the bottom when you edit it to put in a co-host and just put in Denise's email as co-host. And I think that
Okay.
should set it up. That should take care of it.
Cool. And then Denise, if you want to jump on a call with me at some point within the next week, I can kind of train you on what I do. So yeah, just email me. We'll figure something out. And that's it. I have openings October 13th. If anyone would like to give a speech in 2 weeks, anyone want to commit to that?
You can put me down for that, Farin.
Cool.
Please.
All right. Anyone else?
We got to get Denny in for another speech at least.
Denny?
Look at her shaking her head.
October 13th?
I will. I have to wait until I don't have chickens in the background.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay.
Or I could do a speech on chicken.
That too.
Picture taking photography, professional photography of chickens.
Yes.
Yes.
All right, with that.
I'm gonna jump off, but I just want to tell any of the guests, email me anytime if you have questions or, you know, I'm available. And I'm so glad that you guys all joined us.
Yeah, definitely. I'm really happy to see all the guests here. And I will adjourn the meeting now at 1:02. Sorry to keep you a little bit later. Bye, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye,
Have a good week.
guys.
Thank you.